Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Today we're going to try to get through it. It wasn't good for us. One team looked like a JV team. One team looked like a Super Bowl team one half. The second half they decided to not play football. We have a lot to dig into, a lot of emotions, a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, a lot of tears probably shed. But first, I don't recognize what's behind you, Lance. Are you in another new location?
I feel like where's Waldo, Andrew? It's just going to continue to be this quest of never-ending locations. I don't think I've ever recorded here before. I am at my wife's grandparents' house. We are here for
Okay.
Thanksgiving. We I took a last-minute trip for work, and it took me to Utah. And it just so happened we were coming to Utah for Thanksgiving, and I got permission for work to stay down here because I did
Oh,
not feel like
okay.
driving an extra 11 hours just to come
Hmm.
back down here later this week. It just did not felt like a lose-lose situation. So here I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're there. You got some new digs. You're with your family, so that's awesome. Glad that you could make it there.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. So it's good to be here for the Thanksgiving holiday. I was thinking about this, Andrew. Quick question. What is the Thanksgiving dish that you look forward to the most?
Ooh, that's a good question. I can give you my top three. I don't know if I'd be able to pinpoint one,
Mhm.
but I might
Okay.
talk through it and get to you. But I am a huge mashed potatoes guy. I love me some mashed taters, especially if they're homemade with like a lot of butter and like
Mm.
mm, mm,
Hmm.
mm. So that's got to be in the top three. And then the pies. I gotta pick the pies. I'm a big sweet tooth guy, so and I say pies plural because I don't discriminate. I just like them all. And I probably have to go with the main course, the turkey. I love turkey.
Mm.
So those are my top three. If you made me pick one, I honestly probably would go with the mashed potatoes. It's close
Okay,
though.
that's
It's
fair.
close, but that's probably where I would go. Is mashed
So wait,
potatoes one, then turkey, then pie. That's probably my
so
ranking.
so what would you say as far as for let me get myself a little bit higher here. But what would you say as far as for pie? What would be your favorite pie? Do you have a favorite pie?
Whatever's there.
Mm.
If it's apple, if it's pecan, if it's pumpkin, if it's chocolate satin, lemon meringue, I can keep going. Sweet potato.
Mm. I'm
If I
definitely
had to
not a
pick one
lot.
first, I'd probably go apple pie first, just
Okay.
because people usually don't go for the apple pie at Thanksgiving. They go with the
Mm.
other ones. I think just leave it all for me. I'll enjoy it for you guys. Thank you.
I mean, I don't mind apple pie, peach cobbler.
That's a good one too. Oh yeah.
Um,
Peach cobbler.
that one's good. Pumpkin pie. I feel like that one. And that one, I feel like it's either you hate it or love it. There's no in between.
That's
Um,
fair.
I've never met somebody that's like, yeah, I'll have a pumpkin pie. Oh, sweet potato pie. That one's really
hmm
good.
hmm
Pecan pie. Pecan pie is a really good one. Yeah, which doesn't get a lot of appreciation, which I'm kind of surprised about. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the only pies that I really don't get excited about are like the lemon raspberry type, the like
Mm.
the acidity type ones. Those
Gotcha.
ones, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't. The palates don't work out for me.
hmm
So so this will tie to it. But at conference, I like never eat sweets when I'm at a conference or like I'm working because like I try to like pare down my times I eat sweets. Well, it was a
hmm
Saturday, and sometimes I'll eat Saturday or sweets on the weekend. But they gave us a pie, and I decided to have it. It was a lemon pie. I
mm
just did not. For me, that is not what I would want. If it was like
hmm
pumpkin pie, pecan pie, yeah, I just took one bite and I was like, no, it's just not worth the calories. You can take all those calories. In fact, can I give you the calories back that I took in that bite? So
hmm
yeah,
You said
that's how
I ate
I
one
am.
bite. Now I got to run around the block. I got to sprint around the block to burn those worthless calories off.
Well, I like what one of my friends told me. He said that anything that's ordered at the table that you didn't order, the calories don't count towards you. I wish that was the case. That would be sweet.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
So, anyway, I just was curious what your thoughts were. As far as for myself, um, I don't know about you about mashed potatoes, but corn on the mashed potatoes to me, it's
Did
an
we just
upgrade.
did we just become best friends?
Are you the same?
I've been doing that since I was probably like 4 years old.
Okay.
And then whenever KFC came up with the little
Oh, uh-huh.
little
Yep.
KFC chicken bowl, I thought, are they
Hmm.
stealing that from me? Should I have patented that? Because that's the way I go. I always go a big scoop of mashed potatoes, then a little bit of gravy, not a lot, a little bit of gravy,
Yeah, a little bit.
make
Yeah.
a nice little
Yep.
drizzle, then
Yep.
pour the corn right on top and go to town. Yep,
Yeah.
I'm there all the
Dude,
time.
I am right there with you. That's like one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorites. So like,
Mm-hmm.
and I tend to like make a little like crater in the middle because that's where I like to put my
Mm-hmm.
corn so it doesn't fall out.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, that's like,
it's a game
oh,
changer.
the other one is deviled eggs. My mom used to make deviled
Okay.
eggs for us on Thanksgiving, and that was like the only time she would ever make them. So that was
Mm.
like a for sure must have. Um,
Yeah, special time.
the last one I throw out there is the next day, the cranberry sauce with turkey sandwiches. Mm, those are lots of good memories eating lots and lots of leftover turkey sandwiches with cranberry sauce on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, so good. All right, sorry. I had to get some good news first before we like barreled into all the bad news from this weekend.
You're good. There's a lot to be thankful for. Sunday was not one of them. In this time of Thanksgiving,
Uh,
we're thankful that we have football to watch, but not for
mhm.
the football we had to watch,
Yes.
basically.
Yeah.
So where should we start? Should we start with the team that still has a lot of hope or the team that's looking to next year?
I think I went first last time. I can go again. I'm happy to go first.
It doesn't matter to me. I'm happy either way. Well, I guess I can say I'm happy now that I have nothing to be stressed about on Sundays. Like, okay, let's see what happens. Season's over. So actually, you know what? That's kind of nice to just watch it just for the watching enjoyment, not for the, oh, I really hope we don't lose. Now I'm like, well, I mean, we're 4-7. We're not
Mhm.
mathematically eliminated, but now mathematically we can't control our own destiny. So yeah, it's over. Let's see what happens.
Well, why don't you just dig into it, Andrew? You kind of already started. It sounds like better news to me than
Sure.
what we'll have to dig into for me.
Yeah, but again, like I said, at least there's hope for you because you still have a lot
It's
of
true.
talent and you have a great record and you're going to win your division. But all right, let's start with how Minnesota looked. Let me pull up the stats so I can, dive into it. So first off, I want to give the Packers a ton of credit, which is really hard for me to do, as you know. So I've said all year that their defense is
You?
awesome. I've said all year that their defense is awesome, and they showed out in this game. And I've said all year that Jordan Love isn't necessarily an elite quarterback. He is a good quarterback with a lot of talent that needs help around him. And it kind of showed in this game because he didn't have to do a lot. Their game plan that the Packers had was just perfect. All they did was run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. And then on third down, when they needed to pass, Jordan Love got a first down. That's pretty much all they did all game. He had 21 pass attempts and they had 42 run attempts. That's all you need to know. They controlled this game with their defense and running the ball. I mean, we only allowed them to average 3.5 yards a carry. That's not bad. I'll take that. But when they're running for 42 times for a buck 46, that just destroys your defense, just exhausts them. So the Packers had an amazing game plan. They didn't ask Jordan Love to do a lot because, as we saw last year, Minnesota was just eating him up, sacking him, and getting turnovers all day long. He had awesome game in the second half, but we would get a big lead, interception, sack. They were like, you know what? We're not gonna have that happen. We're gonna get to third and short. We're gonna just run the ball, eat this clock, and enjoy a nice physical, fairly easy win. The game was close in the first half. A lot of people were just praising. I'm going to go to the offense now. They were from the Minnesota's offense. Everyone was just praising how great of a play calling this game was for KOC. And I was thinking, for what reason? Because two things. In a game like this, when you're 4-6 before this game started, you either have to win pretty much every game. So you're either looking at this game where it's a must win, or you're looking at this game where we need to develop our young quarterback. So we need to get him in good passing situations to be able to read the field and get the ball out. They did neither one of those goals in this game. If they really wanted to win the game, they would have throw the ball a little bit more. If they wanted to have JJ McCarthy developed, they would have had different pass plays. But they honestly, I think KOC was getting so much flack for the past two games not running the ball enough that he said, "Okay, watch this," and he pretty much only ran the ball in the first half. That's it. And it was, I was like, wow, another run, another run. Oh, okay, another run. It was mildly successful, but you have to pass at some point. I don't have the exact stat. I didn't look it up, but from watching the game, they probably threw like six pass attempts the whole first half. And that's wild to me. That's overcorrection. Yes, he needed to run the ball more. And I love that he was running the ball on like third and shorts, that type of situation. But something hilarious happened. So again, play calling. Um, we had a 3rd and 1, and what do? We do a tush push with our tight end. Gets nothing. I'm like, what are we doing again? What, huh? I see the line, I see them line up. McCarthy's in the back, like in shotgun, and then all of a sudden I see the tight end line up behind everyone. I was like, oh no. And sure enough, he did. And TJ Hawkinson is a lot of things. Athletic with the ball in his hand is not one. He chose the wrong pathway when he got that ball. I mean, it wasn't blocked poorly. There was an angle that he could have got a yard, but he went the exact wrong way and ended up falling on his head and got nothing. So it goes to 4th and 1. And I think there we kicked a field goal. This is our first drive. But there was another 4th and 1 where KOC ran the ball, but we didn't get any blocking. He got stuffed. So next week he is not run the ball at all. He said, you know what? I'll do what you guys want. I'll run the ball like you all want. And it did nothing. So I just want to start on the offense by saying everyone, now we are saying he needed to run the ball more. There's a difference between running the ball more and what he did in this game. Everyone who said he needed to only run the ball, this is the offense that you get to have, where we score 6 points and we can't get first downs. Now to McCarthy. He has a lot of fault in this. In my opinion, this is probably McCarthy's worst game, even though he was 12 for 19, so it's more than 50% passing. But the issue was he was not reading the field quick enough. Their offensive line wasn't blocking very well. They get some fault as well. Micah Parsons was ripping through us like no business. And we had our full healthy O line for the first time all year. And I was going into this game thinking, hey, if you just make sure that Micah Parsons doesn't beat you, we could do well. Run the ball well, get protection. We ran the ball fine, 4.7 yards a carry. That's solid. But McCarthy had no time. And when he did have time, he took his time. And he took 5 sacks. He threw 2 picks. Only one was his fault. Another one was Micah Parsons was literally having his arm around him while McCarthy was throwing, and the ball just went straight up. Easy pick. One pick was bad. That's just McCarthy's not reading defense as well yet. But this to me was his worst game because he was just standing there frozen, not knowing what he was seeing. But something interesting I heard just today, actually, on a different podcast I listened to. But they were saying that Kurt Warner was going over the tape, like all 22, and looking at the film, and he had three main points in this thing. Where one, he gives JJ McCarthy a lot of fault, which is very fair. He did not play well this game. But two, he gives credit to the Packers defense because all they did pretty much all game was rush for and keep seven in the back. So there was really nothing open downfield. And again, great game plan by the Packers because what do the Vikings want to do? Have one or two, sometimes three routes develop long time downfield. And all the Packers did was kept all seven in the back, where McCarthy didn't really see the angle. He probably could have found something, but he's a rookie, so he didn't really see it. And just let Micah Parsons have at it. Let him feast. And that's what they did all game long. And then the third thing that Kurt Warning was saying was that he did not understand, which I can understand a little bit to this point, not full, I'm not quite all the way there, but he didn't understand why we had our tight end running back chipping every single play. And his point was with them chipping, that keeps them out of the routes. So there's no dump off that McCarthy can just dump off to when he's getting pressured. I hear that, but at the same time, if they didn't chip, how much no time would McCarthy have had? Because he didn't have hardly any time at all most of the game. So without a chip help, is he going to snap the ball in like 1.5 seconds, be someone in his face? So I have a mixed feeling on that. I hear what he's saying because all the routes that KOC was calling were long, developing, deep routes. There was nothing underneath. Now, what McCarthy should do in that situation is use his legs. He needed to run the ball more because if there's nothing open downfield, there's nobody in the middle of the field. You could have gotten a good chunk of yards every single time, and that's eventually going to pull those defenders up, and that's when you can beat him downfield. But he's a rookie. He doesn't know this yet. He will eventually, at least I still believe. But again, this to me was his worst game as a NFL player. I know he's had other games where it might have looked like it was worse, but the eye test on this one, he did not know what he was looking at. He was a statue back there. He was confused. He was lost, and KOC could not get him back into the game. I think Minnesota was only down 10-6 at half, so we were playing fine. But again, we ran the ball so much that the Packers didn't really get the ball a whole lot. And then the second half, and momentum is a huge thing. So I that's a really big thing in football. Absolutely. And what happens first half or second half? We stop the Packers. They don't score. They punt to us, and what happens? We muff the punt, give them the ball on like the 6 yard line. So it's 10-6, about to get the ball back. Instead, Packers score 17-6. That's the ball game right there, basically. I'm not saying we would have won if that fumble didn't happen because our offense was stagnant all game long. But if it's 10-6, you still can be balanced and run the ball. 17-6, game's basically over because the Packers defense was smothering you all game long. It was it was just a clinic by them. So credit to them, credit to the Packers defense, credit to their game plan. And Minnesota looked awful. Their defense played as hard as they could. Again, they only 3.5 yards a carry. I know Emmanuel Wilson scored 2 touchdowns on us, but one of those, again, they had the ball on the 5 yard line. And the other was just a long, sustained drive that the defense was just getting tired and tired, doing all they could, and just can't hold up for 60 minutes. So, not thrilled because, again, like I said, when you go into this game, you either A, want to win the game. I didn't think the game plan was one that was conducive to winning, or two, you want to develop McCarthy. How are you going to develop McCarthy whenever your passing scheme had these long developing routes, which during the practice week, if that's the way you want to go, awesome, great. But change it when it's not working. And it wasn't working all game long. And that's all they did. You need to develop some quick stuff, quick slants, get the ball out quickly, let them be able to have easy reads, then slowly progress to the more developed stuff. But all they did was those deep pass plays all game long. And to J.H. McCarthy's fault, he didn't try to use his legs. And the one time he did, this leads me to the next point, is he got concussed, which I watched this play live where he used his legs. He got a first down and then he got hit pretty hard and slammed to the ground. And he was laying on the ground for a few seconds. And I thought, yep, he hit his head because no one tackled him on his legs or his shoulder or nothing like that. He
Mm-hmm.
just landed pretty much straight back, like flat, and he wasn't moving for like 2, 3 seconds. And then the offense, which, this is credit to them how much they believe in this kid. There's like three guys that just went, grabbed him, and just kind of almost carried him up to the huddle. And he went back in the huddle and kept playing. Should he have? I don't know, but he's not going to check himself out, and the coaches might not have fully seen what happened live. But I knew that looked pretty bad. And then lo and behold, on the plane ride home, KOC says that he was showing some symptoms of concussion, so now he's in the protocol. Now, there are some people saying this is again a soft benching. I don't believe that at all. KOC believes in his players, even though McCarthy looked pretty bad on Sunday. Again, probably worst game of his career in my opinion. He was not going to pull him the rest of the year. He was going to play him, which I agree with. McCarthy needs reps. He needs the right reps. I don't think he got those on Sunday, but he needs reps to
Hmm.
develop. Season's basically done. Let him develop, see what he can do, see if he is the guy. You're not going to put him on the bench just to prove a point that you're not playing well. No, you're going to develop him. But this does open an interesting scenario. And everyone in America, which it does have some resemblance of this, but everyone in America is saying that this is the 49ers situation. So JJ McCarthy, we traded up to draft him. He was only 10th pick, not the third pick like Trey Lance was. But we traded up to draft him. He looks bad. He gets hurt. The the seventh round last draft pick for the 49ers for us, undrafted draft pick, comes in, plays well, takes the job over. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but the storylines are quite similar, and everyone in that building loves Max Brosmer. And he's our undrafted rookie that is probably going to start on Sunday because McCarthy's in the concussion protocol. Now, I'm not saying he's going to play well. Most likely, he's going to look average. Is he going to look better than McCarthy? It's possible because from all reports, he is kind of the player that just gets rid of the ball. He doesn't super hunt downfield. If it's there, he'll throw it. But he's a guy kind of checks down, short, medium, just get the ball out to the playmakers. And that's a great way to play quarterback, especially when you're a rookie. And that's not what McCarthy's doing right now. He's hunting downfield, which I'd rather you have to pull a quarterback back than to teach him to throw it more, to be more aggressive. Like Kirk Cousins, for example, checking down on 4th and 8 in the playoff game against the Giants. That's just how Kirk Cousins is. He gets the ball out. He doesn't hunt downfield. McCarthy hunts. He is looking for that 20, 30-yard dime over the middle on the sideline. I don't think that's Brosmer. I think he's going to get the ball out to his check down, short bing, bat, boop, which against a good pass rush like the Packers or next week against the Seahawks, you can have success in that. And again, I'm not saying he's going to play well, but is he going to look better than McCarthy? That's very possible. That's very possible. And even if he does, there is no controversy. There's no, oh, is it his, is it Brosmer's show the rest of the way? Only way it is if somehow Minnesota wins next week, which, spoiler alert, I picked them to lose in our pick'ems we'll get into probably tomorrow or something. But if he finds a way, he lights it up, and we beat the Seahawks in Seattle, okay, maybe we start seeing what we can do with this kid. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. It's probably going to be, he's going to be kind of average, maybe throw a touchdown and a pick. We score like 13 points and we lose like 24-13. It's probably something that's going to happen. All right. He has some flashes. He's okay, but let's get McCarthy some reps, get him out of concussion protocol, see what he's got. But we'll see. So overall, this game was awful.
So
Defense was the one bright spot. Yeah.
one thing I wanted to ask about an offense, because like I'm really thinking about this, right? Like you reviewed a lot of really interesting stuff, and there's so much talent on the Vikings offense. I don't think
hmm
anyone could disagree with that. And honestly, I'm thinking about it more and more. I think the majority of NFL teams have talent, right? In some way, they have talent to work with. Like the Bengals, right? They're 3-8, but the talent is there. So, like when you look at the Vikings, how do you divvy up the blame right now? Like, how do you what has to be like if you were
Good
going in
question.
and you look at the offseason, it's like, okay, what's the one thing that has to change? Is it McCarthy? Like, is it not the fact so much it's his fault, but if he's just playing better, then the team would look better? What do you think makes the biggest difference right now? What would be the
That's a
number one thing?
great question. That's a great question. And to me, it's threefold. Just off the top of my head, and I've thought about this a little bit. It's threefold. In third place, like the third blame, so to speak, or the fault of why it's not been good and we got to fix it, and this is like a big gap between one, two, and three, but I will put this on is the defense has not gotten turnovers. Last year we had over 30. This year we have
Mm.
9. That's a huge difference. And there's been so many almost turnovers, so many almost sacks, and like, those are fluky. Those come and go. I understand, but that big of a gap is crazy. To over 30 to right now we have 9. So we're getting destroyed in the turnover battle. Mostly on offense is the blame. That and I'm going to get there, but I'll give a little bit of blame to the defense just not getting those turnovers. And just watching them, they don't look the same. Like they don't have the same aggression. Like offenses aren't scared. They're moving the ball a little bit. They're not like torching the defense, but they're having success. We're not getting sacks. We're not getting those negative plays. And even watching the Packers game, we're not tackling very well. It's like they are so desperate for a turnover that every time the running back hits a player, we're trying to strip, trying to punch, and the running back's carrying you for 3 or 4 more yards every single time. I think, come on, guys, just take him to the ground. The first person that he hits, your job is to take him to the ground. The teammates around you's job is to try to get that ball out. But that's not what we're doing. We're going for the ball first. It's like we're so desperate to get that ball when we're just not focusing on the fundamentals. Player comes to you, you tackle him, you bring him to the ground. It's just over and over and over on Sunday. And now, if this was Josh Jacobs, I'd be like, yeah, it's Josh Jacobs. It's hard to bring him down. Nothing against Emmanuel Wilson, but he's not Josh Jacobs. And he was carrying us a lot in that game. I was saying, come on, just take him to the ground. So the defense not getting turnovers, not being so aggressive, that's a far away third. But the top two, I guess top, I guess I can say top three. One is tied for first. Um, Number two is JJ McCarthy because, like you said, we have a lot of talent on this team, and the defense is playing fine. It's playing good enough to win, and McCarthy just isn't getting the ball out. He's not reading the defenses right. He's inaccurate at times. He is skittish. He's taking too many sacks. Um, it just and then when it's the first fourth quarter and he's not thinking, he's lights out. So he's in his head too much. He's not knowing what he sees. He's not processing quickly enough right now. And again, he's 22 years old. He is the youngest quarterback in the league. So all that makes sense. All that is understandable. There's no red alert concerns right now that he's a bust. He's not. He's just not reading defenses yet. That hopefully will come. And like I've said before, if this was 2026, week 12, and this is still happening, okay, now I'm concerned. But this is game number 6 of his. Just give him a little time. So he's number 2. Number 3 is the defense. Big gap. Number 2 is McCarthy. And then first, there's 2 that's tied. It's Kwesi and it's Kevin O'Connell.
Mm.
So Kwesi cannot draft to save his life. And that is really showing. Our drafts have been terrible. I think in his whole time he's drafted, which I think is this is his 4th draft, we've had 4 players that we've kept in those 4 drafts, and only 2 of them are starting. Well, I guess technically 3 with McCarthy because our other first round pick, Dallas Turner, he's in and out. He's been fine, but a first round pick, you need to be more than fine, especially trading up to get him. You need to be awesome. His 2 best picks, which there's still time on McCarthy, but his 2 best picks have been Jordan Addison, but he's been absent of late. Might not be all his fault. And Donovan Jackson, our guard. He's looked really good this year. I've been impressed with Donovan Jackson, but everywhere else, our draft has been a bust. When our best player is a 7th round rookie you drafted 2 years ago in Levi Drake Rodriguez, that's a problem. And our second best player is our kicker you drafted 6th round, that's a problem. So Kwesi cannot draft. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but he is in charge of it. So it's the pecking order stops with him. He needs to get better people that know what to look at as far as development and drafting. And that's the other thing, development, which again goes to him because there's a few players that the Vikings parted ways with and they're thriving everywhere else. Now that could be system wasn't right, the coaching him wasn't quite right, but it's
Hmm.
also possibly development because we picked up these guys, we drafted them, we had faith in them, but they didn't turn out well for us. So they went elsewhere, and now they're playing well. Development. I'll name some. Garrett Bradbury, our center for 4 or 5 years. He was always average to slightly below average. He was always fine. Nothing to cry, like nothing to like cry about, nothing to get excited about either. Over in New England, he's been playing really well. Ed Ingram, right guard, he was awful for us. Over in Houston, he's playing really well. He's probably going to make the Pro Bowl, and he was benched on our
Crazy.
side.
Yeah.
Mekhi Blackman, he was our third round pick corner. We traded him to the Colts. He's their starting corner outside. Well, maybe not anymore since they picked up Sauce Gardner, but he has been their starting corner for all season long. Now they have Charius Ward and Sauce Gardner, so he's probably their third guy, but he's playing valuable snaps over there. We couldn't get him on the field. There's one more. Who was it? Oh man, I can't think of the guy. Oh, Nashawn Wright, cornerback. We picked him up in a trade for when our other bust, Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback we drafted in the second round. Total bust. We traded him to the Cowboys for Nashawn Wright. Nashawn Wright couldn't even get on the field outside of special teams. For the Bears, he has 5 interceptions this year. 5 interceptions already. And he's probably going to make the Pro Bowl himself. We pick up these players because we have faith in them, but they don't get on the field and they don't produce. That to me is development. Now to KOC. I think this has been his worst coaching year of his career, and he probably would agree to that. Coach of the year last year, he coached Kirk Cousins to 13 wins, fourth quarter comebacks. That season where Kirk got hurt, you had the Pastronaut. Can't really blame him too much for that because that was a weird year. A lot of
Mhm.
things happened. But this year, he has a team that looks like they're ready to roll. Not a Super Bowl contender, I'm not saying that, but a playoff contender for sure. Lots of talent everywhere. You just have to develop a quarterback that you handpicked, you believed in, and your play calling's been off. You've made really weird decisions, and McCarthy has not been developed. So, top of the pecking order is Kwesi and KOC. Number two, McCarthy, and a big gap, the defense for not getting that aggression that it had last year. That's where I'd put the pecking order.
I mean, that's a pretty thorough chart right there. The Quasi aspect, I think, is one that's been low key not recognized nationally to
Yeah, because
me.
you need draft picks. This team is older, and our draft picks are not producing. You need depth in this league, and we just don't have it, especially in the secondary. I mean, we have Isaiah Rogers who's been good. I've liked Isaiah Rogers, and then we
Mhm.
have I forgot Fabian Moreau. He's our third corner, outside of Rogers and outside of Byron Murphy. Have you ever heard of Fabian Moreau? Probably not. And that's a problem. That's our third cornerback because we cannot draft. Now, rest in peace, Kyrie Jackson. That we had a lot of potential there. That accident happened a couple years ago. That's horrible. You can't ever predict that. That could have been a hit because he had a lot of good flashes in camp. Can't blame anyone on that. That's just a horrible situation. But there's been nothing in that secondary. We can't draft a safety, can't draft a corner. Luckily, in free agency and undrafted free agents, we hit with Jalen Redmond. He is a stud, but we can't draft anyone. We just have no depth. And that's where you get guys to take over for your center who leaves, like Bradbury last year. He left. You needed a center to draft. Instead, we sign an old veteran who gets hurt. When he plays, he's good, but he gets hurt. Brian O'Neill, right tackle. He's getting up there in age. We need to draft someone to take his place, but we have nobody there. If he gets hurt, we're screwed. And it showed. So there's been nothing in the draft aspect.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I still feel like I don't know. I just think that the Vikings and Bengals are just two interesting teams right now where I just look at them and go, their record should be better it is right now. In
Hmm.
different ways, right? In different ways, they're dealing with frustrations, but both teams just have so much potential and they should be playing at a much better level. Um, so I'm just interested to see how things look next year. And I don't know, to me, I don't think there's any shame to have a lost season if you can take the lost season, recognize it's lost,
Hmm.
and then use it to build for next year. I think that's the big key.
For sure.
You look at the Giants last year, and I think that was their issue, is that it became very apparent the season was lost. but Dable didn't use it to build the team. It just more like
Hmm.
they sputtered. They sputtered for the rest of the year, went to the offseason, became the narrative of we just didn't have the quarterback. And look at that now. I would say that
Hmm.
they're yeah, that's a whole nother story. But I just think it's important for the Vikings to look ahead and see like, okay, what can we do? Just like you're talking about. What progress can we make? So
Yeah. And there's three last little things I thought of that is very interesting moving forward. One, we have maybe fortunately or unfortunately, since it's still crazy, but we have a ton of draft picks coming into this
hmm
draft. And it's looking like we'll probably have a top 12-ish draft pick, 13 in that
hmm
range, depending on the rest of the year. So we can get some guys. Like secondary is a big key thing for us. Maybe some defensive line because Hargrave and Allen are a little older, but we'll have some draft ammo. Who knows what'll happen? Two, it's kind of interesting that past like handful of years, Minnesota's made the playoffs, then they didn't. Then they made the playoffs, then they didn't. They've never gone back to back and they've never missed back to back. So if that, pattern continues, next year should be a pretty good year. But the craziest thing, and this just makes so much sense to the Vikings fans, because we're regular season champs, but we can't do anything with it. The past 25 years, can you guess how many playoff game wins we have? Just playoff wins, not necessarily, division championship appearances, nothing like just strictly playoff wins in 25 years.
I'm gonna guess five.
You're close. It's four.
Wow.
Four playoff wins in 25 years.
Well, how
And in those
many?
25 years, we've probably had maybe six or seven losing seasons.
Yeah.
That's a guess, but that's probably accurate.
If you take away the Dante Culpepper era and the Brett Favre era, is it zero?
Kirk Cousins got one. Kirk Cousins
Oh,
has
that's
one
right.
playoff win.
They beat the Saints. That's right. Okay.
Hmm.
Because I knew that Favre and them they had did they play in two games that year or did they were there three games that year? Or was that two? I think it
I
was
think they won
one
two. I think they had a bye
or
that
two.
year
Yes, they
because that
played
was
one,
when
won
there was
it.
two buys. Yeah,
Yep, and then they
and then they
played the
got to the
Saints
NFC
and
Championship and they lost.
mhm.
And there's that year where we had oh I can always forget his name, but our backup quarterback that we had a crazy wild year with, and we played you guys
Oh, Case
in
Keenum. Oh man, how
Case
could I
Keenum.
forget
That's
Case
right.
Keenum?
Yeah,
Yeah,
against the Saints,
the yeah.
the
hmm
miracle pass. So that was two playoff wins. I think that was two playoff wins. No, that was one.
No, I think it was
That was
one
one.
because that was when there
Yeah,
was
that was
two
one.
buys back then
Yeah.
too. So
Hmm.
okay, all right, that's fun. I did not know that. That's very interesting. Anything
And
else?
actually, if we're saying
Oh,
the
go ahead.
past 25 years, I think that probably misses the Culpepper playoff wins because that's like Culpepper's
Really?
beginning years. He started in 99, I think.
Yeah,
Because
because
I
I
remember when I had Madden 2000, I always play with Dante Culpepper.
because they played the Eagles in the playoffs at least one or two times during that era, and I know they
Hmm.
had one win with Culpepper, and then they played the Eagles in the divisional round, lost. But yeah, no, it's interesting, man.
Yeah, that's
It's
wild.
yeah.
Well, I think that's enough negativity on my team.
Oh, great. So now we're gonna get to my team.
I think it's only fair.
Oh man.
And obviously, I didn't watch that game because when I saw it was 21 nothing and a half, I was like, I'm gonna do something else. And then lo and behold,
I did say this before the beginning of the week last week that there's something about playing in Jerry World for the Eagles, and it
mhm.
holds true, man. I don't know what it is. There is some weird aura or magic that just brings out the worst in the Eagles. And you want to know what the worst news is, Andrew? This is the worst news. The Eagles have finally lost in the Kelly Green jerseys. That's the worst news out of
Mm,
all of this is that we had this
mhm.
mystic energy that we were undefeated, never lost in the Kelly Green since we brought him back, and now it's gone. It's broken. Um, the part that I'm most concerned about, Andrew, this was brought up by Anthony DeBona. He's a great guy to follow on
Mm.
social media for news. He covers the Eagles, but he does a lot of good general NFL news. But here's the thing that's really frustrating for the Eagles. The Eagles have scored 7 points or less in an entire half in 8 of their 11 games. That
Mm,
is not winning football. I don't even know if that's playing football, to be honest. Like at
hmm
that point, like
Especially the talent that's on that team. If this was like
there's so
the
much
Patriots
talent.
last year, if this was the Patriots last year, okay, you kind of get it. But this is AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley. What is going on?
I mean, yeah, I so let me get to the notes of the game first, and then I think that I want to do the same thing of what you did, digging into like what
Okay.
needs to improve and what I think went wrong. The first half, I honestly didn't get to see all the clips because I was away with family stuff, but went back and saw some of it. The first three drives were great for the Eagles. Things went
hmm
well. They were getting the ball down the field. Jalen Hurts did a great job of maneuvering the offense. He worked together with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Like it was looking like a great game. I really honestly was thinking to myself, wow, this could be over by the end of the third quarter.
hmm
Boy, was I wrong. I was really, really wrong. But AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both having close to 100 yards. Well, AJ went over it. I mean, that's exactly what we wanted to see from our offense. It was good. And I think that the more I think about it, I'm still not really concerned about the passing game with this team because they showed elements of passing. Yes, there were parts that sputtered. The part I am really confused about is how does Saquon Barkley have 2.2 yards a carry?
And only 10 carries. I mean,
I don't get it.
you're
I
up
don't. And
21-0. He has 10 carries total.
well, I mean, but like, what about Tank Bigsby? 1 for 8 yards?
One
Like,
carry.
what are we doing? Just some inexplicably weird decisions. Some of it I understand. I can understand how you look at it and you're like, well, we're not getting the yards. We're just going to break away from it. So I understand that to some degree. Oh man, but there was a clip that I saw, and he's from PHLY Eagles, but he was digging into it, and he basically just said, "I don't see how Saquon Barkley could make this work." And he showed a play of where Fred Johnson and Tyler Steen were pulling, and Cam Jurgens was supposed to pick up Williams and block him, and then they were going to come over and open up a lane next to Jordan Mailata. Well, I mean, in short, Andrew, there were three linemen that missed their blocks in the play. When three of your five linemen miss their blocks, how many yards do you expect your running back to make? I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses for Saquon. I'm of the opinion right now, if I was the Eagles, I would do 60-40. 60% snaps for Saquon, 40% snaps for Tank Bigsby. And it's not because Saquon's bad. It's just, I think that Saquon's in a funk, and sometimes getting less reps can help you get out of the funk. And you try to be more choosy about when you take your chances with that running back. Um, but they continue with that. Also, and this is something else I want to dig into. I know some Eagles fans are mad at the Eagles defense for giving up that field goal at the end. I mean, the the fuel was spent. If you watched the
hmm
game, there was one point where the Eagles offense sputtered. They give the ball to the Cowboys. The Cowboys then go on a little bit of a drive. The Eagles hold them back, stop them. They get a punt, and Xavier Gibson makes the ultimate mistake of the entire game. Not only was he foolish enough to pick up a ball that was prepared to rolling into the end zone, he then takes that ball, runs it out of the end zone area, and goes 10 yards forward and fumbles the football. And sure, you can say at the end of the day the defense holds true again and stops them. That's true. But the problem is that the momentum
hmm
that was lost through that sequence could not be retaken back. And you put the Eagles offense in a hopeless position, being so far back, already struggling so much to get down the field. It was a comedy of errors. There's just so many moments. A 3rd and 2, Jalen Hurts has the football, and they choose this. I don't understand this. You're a team that does the tush push. What are you doing implementing a deep passing play on the 3rd and 2 when you can literally just run the football twice and get that first down? I mean, come
I've
on,
wanted that same
guys.
thing for the Vikings all year long.
I just Sometimes
Hmm.
teams overcomplicate it and they overcomplicate the thought process of, well, we're going to get tricky and we're going to, and I know that you could look back at maybe some of our comments, right, where we dug into and got after Sean McVay on that running play in overtime against the 49ers and how, oh, that was a bad play call. But this is the thing. That's not what the Rams do. That's not their bread and butter. They're not a running
Hmm.
team. So therefore,
Especially up the
it's
middle.
exactly. And so it's different, but that the Eagles, that is your
Hmm.
bread and butter. That is
Right.
what you excel at. And I think that that's the key is finding ways to be good at what you're supposed to be good at. And that's what the Eagles struggled in the third quarter and fourth quarter on Sunday on offense. They could not do anything good at the things they're supposed to be good at. I think the more and more I'm watching it, the more and more I'm coming to the opinion of we are not seeing a healthy Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens playing this year.
Mm.
And it's deeply impacting the team. It's a really big problem. And the problem from that angle is if your offensive linemen are not performing and they're your starting linemen and you have invested in them, what's the next best option? I don't know. You only have so many draft picks that you can use. I'm not going to fault Howie Roseman for that what's happened with that. That's not on Howie Roseman. He only has so many pieces to work with. Eventually, people just have to play. Um, I think that I'm frustrated a little bit with the training team, the medical staff, because I
Mm.
don't think they've been good in being transparent of, look, they shouldn't be playing. You're getting 40% of their capability. They need to sit. I know it's going to hurt. I know it sucks for the team, but you're getting a shell of their potential. Like let them rest, let them heal. And I'm just wondering, if we had taken that approach earlier in the year, what would we be getting right now? It's hard to say. Maybe nothing. Maybe there's just nothing that can be done, and it's just bearing through and getting through the issue. But not a great season so far for either of those players. And I blame the injuries more than I blame the talent. I think the talent is there because we've
Hmm.
seen it. It's just the injuries are making life hard for these players. Um, yeah, I it's all really frustrating. I also think Jake Elliott is not getting enough blame for Sunday. When you get out there to kick a 58-yard field goal in a dome stadium and miss it, that's very, very frustrating. You got to do your job. When your number's called, you cannot mess up as a kicker.
Hmm.
Um, so I definitely give him flack on that. I know it sucks. It's a tough situation, but you got to make that kick, Jake. I think that he's getting a little bit of a pass this week. He deserves more blame for that because if he makes that kick, then we're in a very different ball game in the fourth quarter. Um, but he didn't bail him
Yeah,
out.
because you miss it and you give the Cowboys really good field position.
Well, it's frustrating because we ran into this issue a couple of years ago where we couldn't trust him in those situations. I think it's a one-off. I don't think that's really Jake Elliott, but you got to make those kicks. So I
Hmm.
just hope that Jake's taking to heart. Like, here's what I want from this game. I want everyone to leave thinking they were the problem. Because if
Mm.
everyone leaves thinking they were the problem, then hopefully we can get things figured out. If you leave the game thinking you weren't the problem and you're looking for someone else to blame, it's going to be really hard to get this team to get better. Um, because like there are even backup players that went on defense that really struggled. Really nervous about our secondary. Andrew Makuba fractured his ankle and will most likely be out for a
Mm.
significant stretch. Reed Blankenship is up in the air with how injured he is. And
Mm.
the one area I will fault Harry Roseman is the quarterback number two, but Adoree Jackson looks like he might be out for a game or two. And
Man.
that's tough. It's against the Bears, so the timing is not terrible. I would not say the Bears are like legitimate threat of a passing team. They're okay. But we got to win on Friday, man. We have to stop the hemorrhaging. That was such a bad
Hmm.
sequence. Um, and there's also this penalty thing. The amount of penalties the Eagles are getting right now is just really weird. I just don't understand where the problem is. I don't understand why penalties have been such a hard thing for them. 14 penalties for 96 yards. That is a
Mm.
lot of penalties and a lot of yards. Just undisciplined football. Um, but we had 19 first downs compared to the Cowboys 25. We were 5 for 12 on third down, which is not good. Yeah, there's a lot we need to clean up. Um, so I think that's enough about the game. I don't think there's anything else I'd want to dig into. Uh, I think we just got to wipe the slate and look ahead. But how I'm divvying up the blame right now is I would put Nick Sirianni in the number one spot. I would put Kevin Patullo in a close number two. I'm going to put the offensive line at number three, and I'd put Jalen Hurts at number four. That's how I would divide up the blame. I put Nick Sirianni at number one because someone said, and I think this is a great description, they feel like what the Eagles did was a loyalty system. You went with the guy that's been with you, and you rewarded him
Mm,
thinking that he deserved his chance, but was he qualified enough? I think as we're looking at the season play out, it's hard to justify it. It's hard to say that that was a good decision. Um, and as the head coach, you have to own that. It's a weird dynamic in Philly because I really do like Nick and I think he's a good coach, but it's a really big problem that he's not a good offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator.
mm,
Like it's hard to always see the benefit that he provides.
mm-hmm.
Um, the part that I think he really excels at, and we'll see how it plays out this week, is he's typically really good at turning pages. When rough stretches come, let's turn the page. Let's get to the next part. I think about that 2 game stretch at the Broncos and the Giants. He was able to turn the page, got the Eagles on a significant winning streak. Can he do that again? I mean, they really have to do that. If they really want to make a push, we have to figure out a way to make the offense work. I will absolutely push back against the narrative that this is 2023. It's not. Go back and watch the Lions game and the Packers game, and you'll see why it's not. The defense plays way better than our 2023 defense ever played. To hold the Packers to 3 points against the Eagles was a great win. To keep the Lions in check, like those are things
Mm-hmm.
our 2023 team could never do. That would never have happened. Um, so I think eventually we'll win the division. It's just a matter of how are we going to win it? Are we going to go out in
Y-
Steelers fashion where we don't have
You
much
know what's
hope?
interesting? Carson Wentz scored more points than the Packers and Lions combined against the Eagles defense. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I mean, you could take that victory lap. That's fine. Um, well, I mean, I think that just goes to show what I said. The Vikings are a talented team. They're a talented team.
Mhm.
That margin of victory, man, it is so
It is.
razor thin in the NFL.
It
And that's what
is.
makes it such a fascinating
Mm-hmm.
game because I mean, the Bengals, the Commanders. I mean, if the Commanders didn't have Jaden Daniels' injury, I think they could have been a playoff team. I just it really hurt them that much, and I don't think they were ever able to get on the right track. But that's for another day. So focusing
Mm-hmm.
back on what I said, um, the offensive line has to get fixed, and Lane Johnson's injuries. Like if I'm Harry Roseman, you have to draft an offensive tackle early in the draft next year, or
Yes.
trade for someone that's your long term answer. It's just too hard, man. This is the third year in a row where we have gone through the game of, well,
Mm-hmm.
Lane Johnson's not available. What are we going to do? It's actually the fourth year. And, at some point, you just have to be ready. You have to have your backup plan in place. It is time. It is definitely time. I love Lane Johnson. He's a fantastic offensive lineman, but him not being available just hurts the team so bad, and just puts us in a really tough spot. And then that gets us to the Jalen Hurts portion of what I was saying. Um, I just I, Here's the part I can't understand. I look at Jalen Hurts' stats this year, and overall, he's having a really good season for him, right? I'm saying for Jalen Hurts. I'm not talking about Matt Stafford. I'm not talking about MVP race because I realize, right now he shouldn't be at like the top three candidates for MVP. I think after this last game, you got to bump him out of the top five, even kind of discussion. He doesn't deserve it. You got to win the game if you want to be in the conversation. Um, but he's been good. The part that's been difficult is there have been moments where he's just been bad in like really bad moments. Like the Packers fumble, like that fumble on like the 17
Mm-hmm.
yard line totally cratered the game and just put us in a weird vibe that we could not snap out of. And that goes back to Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo. Yes, Jalen got us in the bind, but you got to figure out a way to get him out of the bind. and they did not do well enough on that front. So I'm just looking at it, and our offensive line's got to get going, man. We have to figure out a way to get the run game to at least somewhat work because it's
Yeah.
making our offense not run as efficient, and it's making things problematic. Um, so we'll see what happens. Uh, it sucks. It sucks that we lost. I'm glad that we have the Friday game coming up. Hopefully, it won't be a giant situation like the last Thursday night game that we had. That was awful. Don't want to do that again, ever, 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 ever,
Ever,
ever
ever, ever,
again.
ever.
Losing in an embarrassing fashion to a rival is just on primetime football is
Hmm.
painful, so painful. Um, but yeah, man, I still think the Eagles can turn it around. I still think they can figure things
Yeah.
out, move forward. But the Rams, they're the class of the NFC, man. They're the class of the NFL.
Ooh. Ooh, they are scary. And at the beginning of the year, I was thinking, yeah, they're a solid playoff team, but I don't really see them as a contender. I was wrong. I am
Hey,
drawing that back completely now.
I will definitely stand
I
there with you.
and one of my main concerns was Matthew Stafford's back. I don't know if he got like a replacement back in the middle of the year. I don't know what it was, but he looks like better than he's ever played. It's insane. Um, And to get back to the Eagles, I would say that this game against the Bears, this is a good get right game for your run game because the Bears' run defense isn't that good. It's like 28th or something like that. So you can run on the Bears. So hopefully Saquon can get going a little bit. And I'm still of the fact that the Bears are the most fraudulent like division league team in the league right now because again, they barely they win. You gotta give them credit. You won the game, awesome, but they did not look like they should have won that Steelers game. It was bad. They should have lost, but they won. A win's a win. But any team can beat this team, and the Eagles are one of the best teams in this league. So I say big advantage Eagles, even though it's in Chicago, right?
I think it's in Philly.
Oh, is it in Philly?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm pretty.
okay,
Let me double check. It is in Philly.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
And like you were saying, their pass game isn't it's not bad, but it's not great. They've been kind of balanced. And Caleb Williams, if you let him get outside the pocket, he is going to
mhm.
kill you. But if you keep
Yeah,
him in the pocket, even if he's throwing in the pocket, you want that because he is not a great pocket passer as of right now. He is a great extender of a play, finding someone deep downfield. That is where he thrives. But if you can contain him, just have him throw from the pocket or get a few sacks on him, you will beat that offense.
yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out on Friday. We'll have to get to our game picks for sure as far as how things are going to go this week.
Hmm.
But yeah, we desperately need a get right game. Um, yeah, and I think right now the number one seed is on life support. I think that
Mm.
most likely we will lose out on that, but I think there's a good chance that we could still get the number two seed depending on how things play out. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird, man. The Bills game's not as tough as I thought it was going to be. I mean, really, like it's. I looked at that and thought
Hey,
that was going to
you gotta watch
be
out for Brandon Cooks
he's going to save the Bills single handedly.
for
I
sure.
don't know. But the Rams do have some tough games. I mean, they still got the Seahawks and they still got the Lions on their schedule. And I don't sleep on the Panthers. The Panthers showed up on Monday night on defense. It was just the flipping offense that couldn't get going that ruined my upset pick. Dude, I'm still frosty about that one because they could have won that game with Brock. What did Dan call him? Brock Turdy.
Brock Turdy. That was
Uh,
good. That was good. Yeah, I was salty in my upset picks too because most of the game I was like, "Hey, I got that right," and then all of a sudden, both my upset picks lost in overtime. I was like, "Really? You're gonna do that? Come on, guys. Come
I
on."
know. Well, the Chiefs are hard. They're gonna I think they're
Hmm.
gonna weasel their way in. Just barely. I think they're gonna be the seventh or sixth seed, but they're gonna find a way to just squeak into the playoffs,
Hmm.
and then it's gonna become a question of
That win
what's gonna
against the
happen.
Colts was needed. If they lose that game, I think they're out. They win that game, I can see where you're going with that, where they might barely get in. It's possible.
Yeah, I don't think they're winning the division, but I
Oh yeah, I
mean,
don't think so either.
hey, if I'm the Broncos though, man, I don't want to see them again. I
Hmm.
really don't want to see them in the playoffs.
Hmm.
In fact, when did the Broncos and Chiefs play again? Do they play in the last week of the season? I don't think they do. I think it's the Chargers, right? No, it's the
Not
Raiders. Oh my
sure.
gosh. But the week before they play the Broncos. Well, enjoy that
Okay.
bye, Kansas City against the Raiders with no Chip Kelly there anymore.
Because that was the problem in that organization.
Well, hey,
Yeah, it was Chip Kelly.
I want to talk about the self-coached New York Giants at this point. No head coach or defensive coordinator. Yeah, they're practically like those self-insured plans right now, where just like how they don't have an insurance company, well, they don't have a coaching staff at this point. Uh,
And again, it was their defense was the reason why they lost the Detroit game. Not that they were not anywhere near as talented team as Detroit. And they had to have these crazy, insane trick plays to get a lead against Detroit. And you're not beating Detroit even with that. So yeah, it was totally the defense's fault.
yeah, it's crazy, man, crazy.
Hmm.
Well, that's it for me. I've got enough. I've shared enough bad news on the Eagles. I think they'll turn the page. I feel optimistic. We'll see. Um, my heart cannot take another 2023 season, Andrew. That Buccaneers playoff game was it was painful. That was like one of the worst playoff games in Eagles history. I never want to live that again. That was so
Yeah,
bad. Yeah, never want to live that
yeah.
again.
Similar to when the Vikings played the Eagles in the NFC Championship game at home. That was just so bad. And that was the year, one of the few years where you had a chance to host the Super Bowl at your home stadium, but didn't show up.
It happens, man. As an Eagles fan, I've been there.
Hmm.
The McNabb era, we have mostly bad memories of the playoffs,
Hmm.
except for 4th and 27. I think that's like our one gold star besides the Falcons NFC Championship game. Those are like your two gold stars from that era. Everything else is just pain.
Hey, I got to give the Bills credit on that fourth and what was it, 23? That was
Yeah, that was
great play
crazy.
call.
Yeah.
Great play call because that was a designed lateral, 100% designed. The way those routes were going, that was awesome.
Do you,
Got to give him credit.
I was talking about this with some friends. Like, at what point do you think, at what point do you think Josh Allen maybe deserves a little criticism for taking a contract extension and taking more money off of the Bills'
Mm,
sensitive salary cap? You know, because right now it really feels like that if they had a playmaker on offense, if they had a Terrell Owens, it might be the difference between these games they're losing and winning. Do you think that that's an issue?
yeah,
Do you think that's not an
that's
issue?
interesting. Um, wow, yeah. I'm I I'm kind of mixed because there's been plenty of teams with a top five salary quarterback that is very successful in winning Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes. I know he's not like top three, but he's probably top six or seven as far as annual value. I don't know the exact numbers, but he's very well paid, and they had to get rid of Tyreek Hill, and yet they still always go to the Super Bowl, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So there's success in that, but I do hear what you're saying. I think that might have a little to do with it because they're not able to keep, well, Stephon Diggs went out, so I don't think that was truly money issue. But they don't have enough money to pick up a superstar receiver like in the trade market. But also, they've spent first round picks or high second round picks on pass catchers that just haven't turned out. Keon
True.
Coleman and Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid's played good when he's healthy, but not on that elite level, which they were hoping he was. And Keon Coleman's been kind of a bust so far. It's
Yeah.
it's been disappointing. So that's a strategy that you do whenever you have an elite top three quarterback. All right, he's going to get a ton of money. Then we got to perfect the draft across the board everywhere else. If we do that, we have a great chance at a Super Bowl. And
Mm.
that's been a recipe of success. Another recipe of success is to draft a quarterback, build everything else around your team while he's on a rookie contract. Look at the 49ers. That's been successful. Um, but to the same point, I do hear what you're saying because we were talking about Tom Brady, how he kept taking pay cuts so he could win titles, especially toward the end of his career. But I think if I have to land somewhere, I think I would have to land on the I don't fully put it on Josh Allen signing that extension. I do hear what you're saying, but he is still young in the prime of his career. You're gonna take as much money as you can because you only play football for what, 15 years in that realm. So get as much money as you can at the beginning of your career. Then the back end, maybe pull a Tom Brady, take some cheaper contracts so you can hunt for titles. I could see that being a possibility. So I don't fully blame him right now because he's still just trying to get that bank account filled, have generational money for like grandkids and great grandkids, just let them have a great life. So that does make sense to me. But I do hear what you're saying, that if he had a little bit less of a contract, that they probably could pick, like maybe they would have picked up George Pickens instead of the Cowboys. Can you imagine George Pickens with the Bills? That'd be insane. But they were hoping Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid would be their number one, number two, and they just haven't turned out. Khalil Shakir is their best receiver, and he's a good slot, but not an elite player.
No. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of the year unfolds. Just wild year, man. Broncos,
Hmm.
Patriots, Rams, Seahawks, some of your top teams this year. I don't think anybody would have predicted those being some of your top teams.
I think out of those four, only the Rams would have been in anyone's top four. If you said pick the four best teams going into the
Yeah.
year, the Rams would have been the only one anyone would have picked. The Broncos and Patriots were like these sleeper teams. Like, hey, maybe they'll make the playoffs and maybe they'll sneak in a wild card. I don't think anyone anticipated them being the top of the AFC.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then the
man.
Seahawks, probably people thought they'd be good, but not this good.
No. I mean, JSN, the defense, they're for real.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And the only way Jason's not breaking that record is if, I don't wish this on anyone, but if he gets hurt, that's the only way he's not breaking that record. He is easily on pace. He's been phenomenal. And he goes
Yeah.
against a defense next week that likes to give up the big play. So I think he's going to eat against that Vikings defense. I think Sam Darnold's going to take a few negative plays. He's take a few sacks. He's probably going to throw a pick, but Jason's going to eat. He is going to eat
Yeah. Well, it'll be fun to dig into our picks in our next episode. I'm excited. I've
for
got to
sure.
find a way, Andrew, to get myself back up. I think I'm in the 12,000 range again, unfortunately. I've been trying so hard to get my ranking back up for my overall picks and
Hmm.
did not help out myself too much on some of my picks.
Yeah, and hey, I like the process on my end. You beat me by like 5 points again. Like it seems like every week that you're beating me by like 5 points, like just that. But hey, I had fun with the process, and it almost worked out. Jacksonville, Arizona. Arizona was leading that game all game, and then they just give it up at the end, and Jacksonville wins in overtime. And then we just went over the what which one was it? The Indy KC game.
Mhm.
Indy had the lead most of that game, controlling it, lose it in overtime. Chicago, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was in that game, winning it for the first half. I was like, hey, I'm looking pretty good this week. And then Chicago comes back in the fourth quarter, like they always do, wins that game. So I like the process. I like the process. So I think I might continue that process.
Just be careful, Andrew. You sound like the Eagles right now. Don't fool yourself into early returns and then you got to get the W. The W still matters.
Hey, I'm like the 76ers, different Philly team. Trust the process.
Oh my gosh. Do not try to be like the 76ers, Andrew. You could do better. You could be like the OKC Thunder. Be like a team that
Hey, they
actually wins a
trust the process
championship.
too. They trust the process too. And what's crazy about the Thunder is they have the Clippers first round draft pick next year, and the Clippers are playing very poorly right now. It's insane what they've done to build this team. They have one
Yep.
loss all year, and they have a ton of draft capital moving forward to improve what's almost a non-whole roster.
Yeah. They're credible, man. It's an awesome team. Super jealous of
Hmm.
them as a Jazz fan. So you guys could just go ahead and send some draft picks to the poverty organization. we would gladly take those picks.
I'm sure you would.
Yes.
You
Yep.
probably take our GM too.
Hey, we'll send you guys our Gobert and Mitchell picks. It's a fair swap, right? It's still a first round pick.
I think we're good.
I'm sure you are. Well, it was fun, man. I'm glad we got to air some grievances
Yeah.
about our teams out.
Yes, this has been a good vent session, good like counseling. Now we get to breathe, and Minnesota gets to try to develop a quarterback, see what they got in Brosmer, and the Eagles hopefully can get their offense back on track.
Yep. Yep. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining us in this episode of the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you next time.
We'll see everybody.